I cut out most sugar and bread a year ago. It's now just about a year. So we got COVID. Everybody's sick. It was like over Halloween last year. We got the Joe Rogan treatment. You know, all the fancy drugs, monoclonal antibodies, all that stuff. The kitchen sink, they called it. And then after that, I remember I was like, I'm hanging out downstairs, and I was eating salami and cheese. And then I was like, you know, I realized I didn't eat any sugar today. I'm just not gonna. Like, why start now? And so for the next few months, I didn't eat any sugar, and I dropped 20 pounds like that. And then since then, I've rarely eaten sugars or breads. But this past week, we went out to eat. I had a bunch of bread. My whole week was ruined. Like the last weekend, not this past weekend. My whole week was ruined. I was skating. I was falling. I got bruised all over. I was like, why am I falling? Like, I'm not eating that garbage anymore, dude.
I had some Taco Bell. We had a big Taco Bell fiesta.
Yeah, someone just bought a bunch of Taco Bell and brought it here.
Who was that animal?
Yeah, who was that?
$300 at Taco Bell for the whole office.
So I ate a couple of them. I was like, corn tortillas only, because I don't want to do the wheat flour.
It's all wheat flour.
A wise decision.
And so I ate a couple corns. I felt okay. I ate a couple without the shell. I took away the flour, just scooped out the gooey innards. And but then I ate a couple, like a day later, the flour tortilla, and man, my throat was so sore when I woke up.
I love that you thought that there was a healthy way to approach
Taco Bell.
$300 at Taco Bell.
I didn't feel bad.
Yeah,
the chicken was okay.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I think they've improved some of their ingredients over the last 20 years.
I don't.
You don't think so?
I think they downgraded ingredients significantly, just like everywhere else. You look at the food quality, it's going down. You look at the nutritional value, it's going down. You look at the value of just how much you would get from an average tomato or apple a few years ago compared to what we have now, the GMO Frankenstein glyphosate filled plastic nonsense bullcrap that some people are saying is food. It's not food. It's chemically engineered chemicals that make your brain feel good, but utterly destroy your body and cause inflammation in a way where your body doesn't know what to deal with it, as we are seeing rises in obesity, rises in cancer, rises in sicknesses and illnesses that are going up and up and up. Why is that happening? Well, our food is being deliberately destroyed and centralized by powerful forces like Bill Gates, Monsanto, and other evil people that also believe that there's too many people in this world.
Faux food or FOD.
Yeah.
Coin.
You guys don't.
You know, I love
you're not
that
looking forward to Bill Gates' food cube.
Food cube.
and the poop water. You don't want the poop water.
You ever see that photo where it's like there was a disaster, like a hurricane was coming, and then all of the shelves are stripped bare except for the vegan section? Nobody wanted. Nobody was like. I mean,
or the animals when they're presented with real food and vegan food, they're like, we don't want that vegan crap. We don't want that GMO genetically modified Frankenstein made up food in a laboratory. Come on. And a lot of the studies talking about the nutritional value of them, all manipulated, all fixed. A lot of the scientists were paid off just to make it look bad because there's a big business investment into this.
You got to eat the bugs.
Which is also horrible for you and gives people parasites and lectins and other horrible things that people have to deal with. That is not good for you. You know what's good for you? Actual food. You know what we don't have? Actual food. It's crazy.
Is the Monsanto stuff really has me concerned? Because they weren't in the 90s. I don't remember Monsanto being that big of a deal. It was like 2005, or this is when I started to realize that this mega corporation has been spraying huge swaths of land with this chemical glyphosate that you brought up.
As they have a revolving door within the FDA and the regulatory government boards that, of course, watches over them and decides major decisions for them.
They started working with other biotech industries. I don't know who exactly is doing it all, but they genetically modify seeds to be resistant to a pesticide, or I think it's an herbicide that they create called glyphosate. So they genetically modify seeds that can resist this herbicide, and then so the farmers have to buy the Monsanto seed in order to resist the Monsanto herbicide. Otherwise they're on their own in a lot of ways. And so for profit, they'll do that. But then once you start spraying your land with glyphosate, there's no turning back. You can't use normal seeds because they'll die off from the glyphosate. You have to keep buying these genetically modified seeds.
And it destroys not only the bad bacteria, but the good bacteria as well. So essentially, when you're taking something that's like glyphosate, a lot of scientists have described it as taking antibiotics because it destroys also your gut biome. And with the destruction of your gut biome, you get a lot of horrible symptoms that are shown and highlighted and are increasing in our society. You not only get irritable bowel syndrome, but you also get mental problems. You also get physical health problems. You also get the destruction of your immune system. A lot of this is correlated with just your gut, the engine of your human body that's being utterly eviscerated, not just by medical doctors giving out, antibiotics like they're candy, but also because of the food, which contains glyphosate.
It's gotten to the point where when they go to harvest wheat, if they want to speed up the harvest, they need it to get ready to harvest faster, so they need to dry it out because it's still wet. So they'll use glyphosate as a desiccant to dry out the wheat right before they harvest it. So, I mean, if you don't have organic wheat, I swear that I notice a difference in the taste between organic wheat and non or any other stuff.
NBC News has an article that I think might be worth pulling up. It's titled, "A Potential Cancer-Causing Chemical is Sprayed on Much of America's Farmland. Here is where it is used the most." And of course, we're talking about the weed killer glyphosate by Monsanto that now is controlled by Bayer, the company that also a couple years ago knowingly gave out, just medication linked with AIDS.
Is Roundup glyphosate?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Popular weed killer's alleged link to cancer stirs widespread concern.
Yeah, and there's many lawsuits that have been successfully
I've
launched
seen those
against
commercials.
Monsanto because they are showing the emails, the data, the fudged, scientific data, the fudged regulators that were bought off by them. That, of course, knowingly knew that there's a link here to cancer. We're just going to use it anyway, and we're going to suppress this story.
Look at this. Clumps of dandelions have popped up in your yard, so you reach for a bottle of Roundup, the popular weed killer. It's known for being effective, but its main ingredient, glyphosate, is getting a lot of attention because of lawsuits alleging links to cancer. I just want to say this. Dandelions, weeds, you eat them. You make dandelion tea and you eat them. It's so they were brought here. I think you told me this. They were brought here from Europe, or someone did, and for their medicinal purposes. And we see them all over the place, but they're actually not native to North America. They were like prized back in the day. And I guess in Appalachia, it's a common thing to take the heads and batter and deep fry them, and they apparently taste like mushrooms. It's like really good. Wow. So they're not weeds. If here's what you do: if you harvest them, and if you're concerned about what anyone might say when you try to offer them deep fried dandelions, just call them dandelions. They won't know what you're talking about, and then they'll eat it, and then you can tell them it's a dandelion from your garden.
Or stop being a lazy bum and actually start working in the fields and get your hands dirty in the dirt with good bacteria and actually rip out the weeds and actually do some real farming instead of being dependent on a multinational corporation that, of course, is connected to Bill Gates, one of their biggest investors, that has been spraying known, according to many lawsuits and court cases, cancer-causing chemicals on a lot of the products and a lot of the environment all around us. And it's also important to note here, corn and soy are some of the biggest products that are affected by glyphosate, are the products that are most sprayed with it. And when you look at corn and soy, I think it's fair to say that this subsidized crop in the United States has been leading to a lot of havoc, not only with monocropping, getting rid of the nutrients from the soil, but specifically on a nutritional level, because it's GMO, because it has so much glyphosate in it, we are seeing it everywhere in our food. Look, all the sugars are synthetic. All the sugars have high fructose corn syrup. Your mayonnaise has high fructose.
No, mine doesn't.
Well, the ones that you're taking down.
We were at taking down. We were at Sheets, and the packets of Heinz mayonnaise had corn syrup in it.
Yeah.
But the Hellman stuff I have has no corn syrup.
Watch out for glucose.
It's glyphosate.
I'll say it like I want to say
it. No, it's glyphosate.
It doesn't have any respect for me, and I don't care.
They've remarketed high fructose corn syrup as glucose fructose.
Yeah.
So if you see that on your label,
really?
that's high fructose corn
That
syrup.
was our whole childhood, wasn't it? 80s, 90s.
My favorite. My favorite.
92 is when it got popular.
My favorite rebranding is table syrup.
Oh, I know.
That?
So
Corn syrup.
Yeah, it's corn syrup marketed as like a breakfast pancake syrup or whatever.
Yeah.
You just think about how disgusting this is. Okay, look, there's a reason why we would put maple syrup on our food. It's like maple syrup is real food. So you get it out of a tree. It's sugar. It's a product. You can do things with it. They make like little maple discs. You put them in your coffee. They're fantastic. And so then people like to put maple syrup on their breakfast. So then somebody was like, hey, look, this corn syrup's cheaper to produce. So they started making, corn syrup additives and calling it maple syrup. Eventually the government was like, hey, you can't call it that. Basically, you have this disgusting chemical mix on your table to pour onto your already starched breakfast. I just find it absolutely disgusting.
It's wild.
Table syrup. I love how they rebranded it.
Yeah.
Table syrup.
I used to do a
What does that
shot
mean?
of maple syrup. I'd be like, all right, let's do this. I need a sugar spike. And I'd do like a shot of maple syrup, and it would be like God entered my body and gave me wisdom and joy and all this. And I'm like, wow, immediately I wanted another one. My body's like, yes, do that again. So I would experiment, and I would reach for it, and I'd do a second shot, and it would taste like I was drinking black, nasty death. Like it was just like poison. It was just too much sugar. Like you don't need the body immediately when it feels good, it wants it again. It doesn't mean that you're going to feel the same way the second time you do it. So I realized when you want that addictive second shot, just put it down.
Well, high fructose corn syrup has been engineered in a way so your body doesn't reject it like it does natural sugar. So if you're eating natural sugar, your body says, hey, you're getting too much sugar. Stop eating all these berries. Stop eating all these fruits. But high fructose corn syrup has been engineered in a way where that shutoff valve can't exist in your human body, and it doesn't work with it. So you're able to consume huge sums of high fructose corn syrup, and corporations even have a level where it's the exact amount where your body is able to take as much of it as it can without actually puking, and a lot of corporations fill it to the max and try to go to that extreme level.
The satiation point.
Exactly.
For breakfast, I've been having 2 eggs, fresh from Chicken City, and 3 bacon. We've been doing just regular old store-bought bacon, but sometimes if we make it out to the farm, we'll get farm bacon, and you don't need to add anything to it. Now, bacon's already very salty or whatever, but you don't need sugar. It's just fat and protein, and it's perfect. I like putting a little black pepper on it. That's about it. People who have these crazy sugary massive breakfasts with pancakes and orange juice and whatever.
Juice, yeah.
I can't understand. That's so brutal.
It's kind of weird how like we've been brainwashed to think that you need foods with foods, like certain foods, like you can't have a hummus without a scooping cracker. Like I just ignore the crackers. You don't need crackers. Just eat the hummus.
Wasn't orange juice Edward Bernays' scam?
And so was bacon.
Yep.
They were both. At least, okay, this is what I read. This is what I was told. Bacon was not a breakfast food, but they were like, let's market it as like the all-American breakfast food. And orange juice was because there was an orange surplus. So the farmers and distributors were like, how do we sell off without losing money? And he was like, take a portion of the oranges out of the market, juice them, and then we'll tell everybody if 1 glass of orange juice has 5 oranges, it's 5 times as healthy. How about that? Yeah. In reality, that there's more sugar in orange juice than like a can of Coke or something like that. So and it's pure fructose just to go to your liver, and it's very, very heavy. You eat an orange, you're in good shape. It's got some sugar, but you get a lot of that dietary fiber and vitamins. Orange juice is hyper concentrated with no fiber.
Also, when you eat the orange, eat off a little bit of that white pith from inside it's really good with the juicy orange part.
I had a chocolate covered orange peel.
Yeah.
Recently, we had a bunch. Everybody ate it. They ate it super fast. That was crazy.
Candied orange peels.
Yeah, I bought some thinking like this is going to be gross and no one's going to want to eat it. It was the first thing to go. People love eating orange peel.
A lot of fruits like that. Can't you eat the banana peel too?
You think so?
I think so.
Wouldn't want to.
How? What do you just
eat
prepare
the
it?
banana peel. I don't know. You can
well, I mean, of course,
caramelize them and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think I've seen
it's
that
all
before.
plant matter. I mean,
Yeah.
I
think our generation's so conscious of all this stuff because I was having this conversation last night about 80s and 90s kids growing up, and you think about the food that we had growing up. Every breakfast was a dessert. We had Fruity Pebbles and cartoon characters, Cookie Crisps and stuff, and then every meal was based around pizza for the most part. You had Totino's Party Pizzas and Bagel Bites. That was my diet growing up, and hamburgers and fast food. Man. So like we're sort of starting to feel the repercussions of this. So I think that now we're kind of a lot more conscious of it nowadays.
Yeah, we were going by the food pyramid, which was so right.
It's actually an economic model. Like it was made for the same thing where they had so much wheat production. They want to increase wheat production in the U.S. so that they would just make everyone eat it all the time every day.
Also, before we go into super chats, I'm getting information that Viva Frei did not comply with the takedown orders, and that his account was just reinstated without him having to click that he was wrong on Twitter. So
cool.
that's just what people are sending me, and Viva Frei is saying it on Twitter just for a correction from the earlier story.
Correction. Apologies, Viva. Glad to hear that you stood your ground and ultimately it worked out.
Apparently you can make bacon out of banana peels.
What?
Dude, it looks good.
I'm telling you.
Holy snap.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. You ever make a watermelon steak?
No.
This is actually really cool. You take a big slice of watermelon, you put it between paper towels, put it in the fridge, and leave it overnight, which dries it out a bit. Then you can marinate it, season it, and bake it, and it ends up having the consistency of like a piece of tuna. And so we would cook it with like garlic and onion and maybe like a little soy sauce for flavor, and then we would make sandwiches with it, and it's delicious because it's not a lot of flavor in it after you dry it out. So you're basically just getting like a firm dietary fiber mash with whatever flavor you put in it. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, Tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.